episode 200. Episode 200. So, as most of the listeners know, we've been connected with Full Wedge for a while now, and we have one of the hardest gets in the golf space here. So I'm happy that we're doing it. Episode 200, and we are with the founder, CEO, everything.
A little bit of everything.
Full Wedge Golf, Andrew McClelland. Thanks,
Back.
pal. Appreciate
Back.
doing this. Thanks, man.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having me on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
It's a pleasure. And big fan of your work. Big fan of the pod. It's always my go-to when I'm on a long drive. So,
Ooh, I appreciate that too. You just got back from Boston, so hopefully we had some decent episodes out lately. So this one is 200 for us. So it's kind of a big one for us. It's obviously we've been doing it for over 4 years straight now. It's kind of cool to be posting these up every Friday. Now we're trying to do more live ones. So just beside us, we have the shop. So as I'm like talking here, hopefully we've got some footage that I can kind of drop in over top. We're in the lounge. Is this the lounge? Is this what you guys call the lounge?
This is the lounge, yeah.
Okay.
We call it the clubhouse. So
The clubhouse. I like that. Okay, yeah. Full Wedge Pro Shop, clubhouse, everything. I like it. We got a couch next to us, and we got some new gear behind us. So we opted for the chairs today behind the table. Next one, maybe we do on the couch.
yeah, let's do it.
Or maybe a guest in the future. I bring them and we do it on the couch.
Yeah,
Maybe
whatever.
we get like
That's cool because you got the sign in the background.
Yeah, I like that. So we'll make use of the spot. Hopefully we can. I have aspirations right now of getting the drone up in the warehouse.
Yeah,
So
you gotta make that happen.
I'm hopeful that I'm cutting to a point here where we're flying a drone in a warehouse. That would be pretty cool. I'm a new drone pilot, so I'll risk it though. I'll risk it. So Andrew, can you give us an idea of maybe just an intro of who you are, kind of like your role at Full Wedge?
Okay, so yeah, I'm Andrew. I'm the founder of Full Wedge, also CEO, COO.
Okay.
As a founder of kind of a up and coming brand, we've been going 5 years now, but I'm still kind of doing a little bit of everything. We're a modern, fun golf apparel brand. We offer polos, quarter zips, hats, towels, kind of everything right now.
Socks.
We got socks. We got
Yep.
shorts, joggers. So we started off with just polos, and now we're doing the whole works, and working on just continuing to innovate, adding different product lines and a bunch of collaborations, and we got a lot going on right now. But to answer your question. Founder, CEO, and I do a little bit of everything.
Even candles. I hope that shows up in the camera, but we even have candles.
Quick shout out to Fairway Candle. Up and coming candle brand based in Toronto, hand poured in Toronto. They do golf candles, so be sure to check them out.
Yeah, and come on the pod too, because I was telling Andrew, like, I like to just learn about people who I know nothing about. Like, that's, as a podcaster, that's something that I've really enjoyed doing over the years. So I know absolutely nothing about candles. I know there's wax in there, and maybe I've seen a how it's made video at some point, but I know nothing, which would be pretty cool. And then like golf scents and stuff like that, and how you kind of bring golf into like the candle space or candles into the golf space, which is pretty cool.
For sure.
So Andrew, I got a question for you. After, obviously, you do a little bit of everything. Is there anything you won't do anymore? Like anything for Full Wedge where you're like, Elise is taking this one, or is it Nathan?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So like, definitely support emails. I've passed that off for a few years now.
Okay.
Packing orders. Honestly, I enjoy packing orders because it's kind of just mindless. But no, I don't pack any orders anymore. Hired sales manager in the fall. Rich, he's been awesome for us. So he's taking care of all of our sales. I still have my connections from the early days, so I still do some sales, but Rich has been huge for us. I still kind of do a little bit of everything.
So you will do. There's nothing that you absolutely won't do.
No.
Gotcha.
Actually, maybe invoicing and accounting. I hate that also, so I pass that off. So, other than that, nothing I won't do for Full Wedge. So.
Because I feel like the reason I asked that question is over time. Like, obviously, I just set all of this stuff up here. We got a couple photos of it, and it takes like 45 minutes probably to set it up. Then I'm always worried, like, is it right? It's hard to get like somebody that's, you need somebody behind the camera almost all the time to kind of be checking the things. I talked about
For
this with a
sure.
friend of mine, Jake, who's like really good at this kind of stuff. But then also the editing is so hard. So, we're sort of up and coming as well. Like we've been around a long time as well in the podcast, very long time in the podcast world anyway. But editing is one of those things where I'm like, it's 2 a.m. and I'm like clicking save or like export. So
That's a grind,
it
man.
just kind of like, but it's one of those things where you have to do it. If you want to do it, you have to do it. And like, I still do enjoy it. I like seeing the finished product when there's so many times I wake up in the morning. First thing I do is I like get up, go down and check on it. I'm like, how to
It's
turn
gotta be
it.
pretty rewarding. Like
Yeah.
after you, yeah, grinding hours to edit it and to like have the finished product, you get to watch it fully through.
It's so hard. It's so hard to edit though. Like those guys who do it, and I was telling you, like drone pilots and stuff like that. Like those guys are amazing. Denim, who does some work with Full Wedge, like looking at his stuff, it's
Yeah,
incredible.
shout out Denim.
Yeah, because it's like they're very very talented individuals. So, what would a day look like for Andrew at Full Wedge HQ? Like say in 2024. Like if we're for you right now, what's your day in the life look like at the HQ here?
At the HQ. Okay, so yeah, we'll just go like tomorrow. I'll show up around normally between 7:30 and 8. I don't really have a set time that I come in. This is like a average office day, so I'll come in. First things first, go through my emails. Yeah, get quite a few emails. Yeah, so that's first, and then next I'll go through the communications with our suppliers. We always have orders coming in, restocks. Yeah, and then in the middle of that is kind of managing the different kind of departments like marketing, so making sure our social media is good, sales, any issues there. Also, just with the basic operations, so like the filling and packing orders, and there's always normally some issue or some fire to put out or something like that. And I'm here more than more than I'm anywhere else. So it's no, it's a good place to be, and I wouldn't rather do anything else. So.
Well, it's a nice spot too. Like if there's no like sales store here or sales front or anything like that here, but if you're like, we're in the Toronto area. If you're in the area, like, would you encourage somebody to come by, check it out, say hello?
Definitely,
like,
yeah. So we're just in Pickering, Brock Road, 401. So yeah, if you're in Ontario, you probably know exactly where it is. But yeah, feel free to stop by. Maybe shoot us a message. We'll be happy to give you our address. Feel free to stop by, check it out. We'll give you a tour. We normally have some fresh new stuff that hasn't hit the site yet, like some of the stuff we have behind me here. And yeah, maybe pick up a couple of pieces for sure.
To show somebody like a really accurate depiction of where we are. If you're heading east on the 401, it's like right around when you're going to hit that Salem Road traffic. I know, I know that because it's like as I'm leaving here, I'm like, okay, I can't go home. I'll just like go somewhere else or I'll do something else. So, speaking of like the new items and stuff like that, the design process is like forever evolving with you, I guess. Like you must have designed a couple hundred pieces by now.
Yeah, we're in the hundreds for sure.
Even probably more. Some probably don't make it too. So,
yeah, lots don't make it.
Can you give us like even just a quick overview of like the design process? I know with our conversations, like I learned that you do a lot of the designing as well. Our friend Greg had a hand in some of the design. Like how does like the design work? I guess can you take us through like start to finish of maybe like all of it actually? Like I think it's like a really cool question that people would love to know. Like if we're designing like a new hoodie or, a new polo, like how does it start from, the inception of it right through to the completed project?
For sure, yeah. So I have zero graphic design experience or skills at all. Basically, so for example, when we're lining up our spring catalog, so starts with some long meetings right over here in the lounge here by the couch, and I'll come up with a concept. Okay, so for example, the transfusion polo. So yeah, that's one of them there. So it's like, okay, we want a polo with transfusions on it. Like, how do we start? Okay, we'll start looking at different photos of transfusions and try to get the graphics down. Other times it's just like a small floral print, or we have a new one coming out that's cottage themed, so it has different cottage icons on them. So comes up with the concept first, and then like I honestly normally just do like quick little drawing to put my thoughts to paper.
Okay.
And then we have a graphic design team that we work with that can put it from paper and concept to your computer, and then from there it goes to our suppliers, and then there's normally some tweaks along the way.
Right. Do you like to have like a hands-on approach with that? So with me, like I gave you the idea of how I just ordered a putter. Like, you know, another shout out to Tyler Lowy, like one of the only guys on the planet that hand mills these things on like a Bridgeport. So I said to Tyler, he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, like, you're kind of like, you're the pro, like you're really good at this. I don't really know. I go through every piece that he's, you know, created, the 70, 80 putters or so that he's done. And I'm like, I like all of them. How do I like pick a part of this? And he's like, give me like an idea. And I think the first thing I was like, well, how about like an all black putter?
Yeah.
And then he was like, okay, done. So like I got like a black grip, the BGT stability shaft, the first like hosel piece that he's done. He could tell you, message Tyler and ask him what like the aluminum was or whatever it was, whatever materials he used. And so I kind of handed it off to him. And I really liked that because I think I drove all the way to New Jersey not knowing what it looked like.
Yeah.
And then I got it back and I was like surprised with it. So do you like to, you know, have that type of approach, or do you like to like see all the iterations? Bryce, our partner on the pod, like he needs to see everything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, I would say I kind of need to see everything. Just with like the size for polos, the size of the print, like the colors, the shades. Like I'm kind of quite involved with the process and each iteration, and then we'll have a meeting, run it by the team. Hey, what do you think? Like, think this looks good? Do you think pattern needs to be a little bit bigger, or what shade of like purple should it be? Like, there's so many different little things that goes into like just a pattern shirt. But yeah, no, I'm pretty hands on in that aspect.
I think there's like left brain and right brain, and you and Bryce are probably one and I'm probably the other, because I think also too, I found like over the years, I'm actually like a pretty creative guy, but I like giving creators the creative freedom to create what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that putter is not a business of mine. So like that might be a little bit different, right? So I've thought about like if we ever source out the editing to somebody and stuff like that, like how that process would go, because now I've done a couple hundred episodes. We don't do really like any editing. In these live ones, there is a ton of editing. I'm lying. Like there is a ton of editing, but on other podcasts, like we'll pretty much cut the start. I'll edit in some like music, whatever it is. And then like we'll mix in a couple things like an ad or whatever we may have. There's not a whole ton that goes into it. Mm-hmm. With these ones, like we're splicing every single time you talk and I talk, and like there's a ton that goes into these ones. So I feel like passing that off, there might be some like, you know, I might be a little bit different. I definitely probably would be a little bit different, but I'm always kind of curious what other people do and what other people think, because whenever I'm like receiving something, I like the surprise aspect of it. I think that's like one of the things that I enjoy from it. Right.
Yeah,
so
product, I would say, is where I'm most hands on.
Yeah.
And like a bunch of the casual wear we're coming out with. I see it in my head and then, put it to paper and then work with the graphic team to get it to computer. But I would say product, I'm most hands on, and then a lot of the operations and other things, I can kind of take the back seat.
So we're approaching year 6 for Full Wedge, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So I know you're kind of talking about like you and is it Nathan?
Yeah.
Nathan. So Nathan was at the putting green. So anybody who was at the recent Full Wedge Classic a couple weeks ago, Nathan was at the putting green, right?
He was, yeah.
Yeah. So I like Nathan. Nathan's really cool. He's
day one for sure.
So one of the OGs. So like, you know, do you guys like when you're collaborating like on a piece with your staff, like you're talking about, kind of everybody having like an input, does it get like passed off and then you take the information and then you kind of run with it, finalize everything? Do you go back to Nathan or Elise or any of the other Rich to see like their input, or do you kind of like to have your like final stamp on it?
Yeah, no, like whenever we get like the first mock-ups, I'll always run it back with with the team and get their opinion on it. And then yeah, we'll kind of just have a collective agreement. Hey, like this is it. Like it's gonna work. It's gonna sell good. Like I would wear it. That's the biggest thing. Like we still pretty much make like what would I like to wear? What would like my friends like to wear? Like that's kind of that's a huge part of it. Like hey, like Nate, would you wear this? Like do you think this looks cool? Like that's a huge part of it.
One of the questions I thought, so I posted up on Instagram, so thank you for those who sent in some questions for Andrew, but one of the questions I had was, is there ever a piece where you've created it because like maybe your team, they really enjoy it, but you do not like it? Yeah.
There's been a few.
We don't have to name the piece. I would just be curious if you were just like, no, not a chance. I'm not putting this out, but like everybody has their own style. You know, it seems like everybody at Full Wedge has a pretty, you know, laid back, cool style. Like there's a lot of like streetwear coming out and stuff like that now.
Sure.
It's, you know, a very like modern approach to the game, which is kind of what aligns best with like myself and Bryce. Mm-hmm. But, obviously congratulations to Bryce. He just had a baby yesterday. I should say that. So Bryce, congrats. That's one of the reasons why Bryce can't be here for episode 200 is, so the baby's about a week old now, but, congratulations. So that's fresh news, but, sorry, we probably should have started the episode off that way, but, that's why Bryce isn't here for number 200 or we'd have him come down the 401 for this one. But, yeah, just be curious if there was ever a piece where you're like, no way, I'm not doing that. But
there's a few, yeah. So there's a few pieces that I wasn't particularly a fan of, but the rest of the team was. And so, yeah, we put it online. Sometimes it's worked out. Sometimes it hasn't worked out. But
is there any that have like way exceeded your expectations? I assume like over the years, hundreds of different, you know, pieces that you put out. When we say pieces, like pieces of apparel, it'd be easy to like forget some of them, but is there any that like exceeded your expectations, like that you can actually like remember which piece it is?
For sure. Yeah, there's some best sellers that in like the design process were like, oh, this would be a cool idea, and then yeah, people loved it and just they went crazy. But
I guess like I like the golf hoodies and golf is hard.
That
like,
would be one of them, man.
Yeah,
like, it was just some idea I had at the back of my head. I was like, you know what? Let's just throw golf is hard on the back of a hoodie, and then and they take off. Like they've taken off. Like we can't keep them on our shelves, but whenever this pod comes out, we just restock them so you can maybe pick one up.
Yeah, this will be out on August 9th, so hopefully there'll be some out then.
Sounds good, and actually one new color in the hoodie as well. So.
Nice. Okay, because whenever I see that hoodie, I'm like, hey. That's a full wedge person. I'm like, you know, like trying to like look through the crowd. So when we're at the Canadian Open, especially, I'm like, oh hey, what's up? Like, you know, like when like motorcycle people or Jeep people, like they wave at each other and they're probably like, what is this guy doing? Yeah, exactly. We got to like come up with some type of symbol or something. So, so when we're talking about all like the different pieces and stuff, obviously we've seen, you know, a lot of people in social media. It's become like a really big thing where the brand collaborations through like Instagram, YouTube, all of these other entities and channels and stuff like that are becoming very important. So you work with like us, which is great. So and a lot of other like creators. Is there anybody like in the golf space that you know, maybe they're already like with another brand or something, but you would love to just work with them, whether it be, you know, somebody's got a massive following or just maybe like a PGA Tour or LPGA Tour Pro or something like that? Is there anybody that like you've kind of thought just combing through like Instagram, like, oh, I'd love to work with them one day?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'm sure there's a bunch. I think I think Sunday golf bags would be a really cool one.
Okay, yep.
That's kind of been done before, but I think that'd be super cool. Also thought of like a custom rangefinder. I think that'd be super cool.
Yeah.
While we're on this topic, like one of the like a dream of mine was to make like the full wedge. So we're working with Haywood Golf, creating like a custom set of wedges with a full wedge pattern on them. So that one's coming to fruition this fall. And then the putters that we recently dropped, that was always kind of like a dream of mine. So
yeah, we're big fans of Joshua Haywood and the group over at Haywood Golf. So it'll be in the past now, but I'll be on their Instagram live tonight. They're doing like a giveaway, so I'll be like trying to, or
Oh,
not a
sick.
giveaway. They do auctions, right? So I'll be on there trying to get stuff off the auctions and stuff like that. And we're always doing stuff with Joshua Haywood. He's kind of their stuff's really taken off and it's beautiful. They've dropped a couple like their signature volume 2 and then their player development first installment to that iron, which is awesome. I say installment, but first set of those irons. So go check them out, Haywood Golf, and they've got
Looking
beautiful.
forward to seeing these come too. So
It's so clean too. It like goes really well with full wedge, right? Like it goes so well. Any players that you would love to get involved with?
oh man, there's
It's easy,
so,
like
so many
Brooke
players,
Anderson or something has to like come to mind, right? It's like
I would love to have a solid like Canadian on the tour. But another guy that comes to mind that kind of fits the brand would be like a guy like Jake Knapp. Like he's pretty sweet.
Yep.
But yeah, there's a ton of like up and coming young players on tour that I would love to have wear full wedge. And
Yeah, Jake came through the PGA Tour Canada circuit, so he's been around there.
He's just got that swagger about him.
Yeah.
Like I think he's super cool. But yeah, we're working with a few guys right now for 2025. So
Nice.
I'm excited about that.
What about not in the golf space? Like if you were to get connected with it's like escaping me right now, but like we've talked about I can't remember his name. Is it Josh? I think he was at the Canadian Open. And he was like, I think he was wearing like one of your polos one of the days or something. But is there anybody not in the golf space that you would love to see? Like, you know, he's a country music singer. I can't remember who.
Josh Ross.
That's it. Thank you. Sorry, it's just like completely escaping me. But is there anybody like that is not in the golf space that you would love to see? Like, you know, maybe wearing some like the Toronto collection or something like that. Like,
yeah, like definitely, yeah. Josh Ross, big fan. Trying to think of who else right now.
it's easy to say things like Austin Matthews would look
That's
cool
what-
and like
it's
he would
like-
look so cool in like the Toronto collection and stuff. But it's like it's so easy to kind of say that stuff. We're looking for like, you know, digging deep
We're
and
looking
like.
for like kind of realistic, yeah. AMAT's like anytime, pal. I'd love to have you rock the Toronto Club.
But also like somebody who's like known in Toronto too, right? Like it's like if you're thinking of like, you know, like somebody who's like known for being like a Toronto person, like Cabby or something like that,
Exactly,
right? Like
yeah.
it's like you see Toronto media and like you think like Cabby and like things like that, right? So it's there's always so many people like that. And I think it's evolving past just the golf space, right?
I'm a big fan of the TSN 1050 guys. So
Yeah.
Hazy B, O-Dog. Yeah, I'd love to see them rock some full wedge gear.
Yeah, we've had Carlo on in the past too. Carlo's a friend of ours, and he's been on the pod too. And yeah, it'd be cool. Maybe first up, and yeah,
for sure.
O-Dog would be pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool to see O-Dog. He's a stick too. He's so good,
He
right?
is,
Yeah.
He's unreal, but yeah, I think he could pull it off. So
What about a dream like brand collaboration? So you mentioned a couple. Let's take it like outside of the golf space though. Is there anyone like that you maybe wear personally or something like that you would love to do like a collaboration with?
outside the golf space, well, just quickly came to mind. Malvin's killing her
Yeah.
right now. Like, and they're doing. I don't really understand how they're doing it. They're doing like collabs with like Nike, Adidas, like a ton
Everyone.
of other apparel brands.
Yeah.
But give me a few minutes on that. Let me think on that. Yeah, I'm sure I come up with something. But yeah, there's a ton of brands out there outside the golf space that I think would be a cool collab.
All right, so I'm going to grab an Instagram question. I think I did get one in earlier, but aside from wearing full wedge, what golf brand do you wear the most? I'm sorry, I didn't grab the names before. I probably should have done that. But what golf brand, aside from full wedge, do you wear the most? And it can be an absolutely not. Like, I'm not wearing anything else.
Pretty much now that we got the full lineup, yeah, I pretty much wear full wedge. Yeah. Well, I do love the stuff, and so yeah, I wear that every time at the course, off the course. That's pretty much all that's in my closet and drawers right now. But definitely a few brands that I like McCade. McCade makes like unreal joggers. Grayson's another cool one that we kind of look up to. It's they've got some really cool pieces, and then obviously, like we mentioned before, Malvin, they're making some pretty cool stuff. So Yeah, I would say those three brands are.
They're all cool brands, but the answer is nothing. We're wearing full wedge stuff. Yeah, the answer is we're wearing full wedge stuff, and it's something that I actually got some feedback too from a couple friends. Like we've connected with a couple friends who have been on the podcast or a couple pros and stuff like that. And one of the one of the biggest things we've gotten is the shorts and the joggers are like a pleasant surprise because they're hard to get right. Was it hard to like?
So hard, man.
Because the joggers are pretty new too in like your world, right? Like, are they hard to like source out different pieces? Like, I assume there's got to be like a long process to get through them, but is it something that you're happy with now?
Definitely
Yeah.
the hardest piece that we've been doing. Like the joggers, like from our first run of joggers, like we've been tweaking them for the last 2.5 years, and we're still doing tweaks on them just because the fits, like it's got to be perfect, and just the different lengths and the different like body types. It's hard to get something that fits nicely for everyone, but yeah, definitely shorts and joggers are definitely our hardest pieces to nail down.
As you can tell, Andrew and I aren't exactly the same body type. What would fit with you and Bryce would not fit with me. So it's kind of one of those things where it was nice to, when we got chatting, like you had like short options and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that's what we try to do. Like for our shorts, we offer like an 8-inch, 10-inch, and the smaller size is a 7-inch, and then for the joggers, we'll be coming out with short, regular, long, and yeah, we're trying to because we think that's definitely like our pathway to rounding out our customer base is providing like premium joggers that fit them nicely, that they can wear on the course, off the course. So yeah.
Well, I think I was having a conversation with Eric too. Eric, I think his name's Eric. Eric, I hope I didn't mess it up. If I'm saying Eric, but I know his name's Eric Robinson, I believe. So, and he was saying like the joggers were like, he was another one, and like my friend Ziggy and stuff like that were like, I couldn't believe like the quality of them.
Awesome.
And
that's so cool.
you know, it must be good to get that feedback too, especially when you have 2.5 years in the works, right? And
for sure.
I think it's one of those things where joggers are probably one of the most scrutinized pieces of clothing in the space, and it's something that you want to make sure that you get right. And it's, they got it right. So go check it out. Of course, with anything, we haven't mentioned it yet, but the links are in the show notes below. So if you want to go check out fullwedgegolf.com, they're in the show notes below. You can get anything that Andrew and I have talked about.
Yeah. So it's rewarding knowing that like people became fans of us because of our polos, but we're selling just as much other gear right now that like with our polos, like our casual wear, our shorts and joggers. So we try to maintain that level of quality and style throughout all of our pieces. So.
What's up, guys? It's Mac here. We're about halfway through the episode. I'm just midway through the edit right now, just trying to get this one done to get it out, doing a little bit of work in the new studio as well. Hopefully you're enjoying the episode as much as Andrew and I enjoyed recording it. I'm going to go ahead and drop a graphic here with some of the other team members at Full Wedge Golf. It's not just the four that we were able to see at the HQ that day with Andrew, Elise, Rich, and Nate. There's a whole group of people that go into making Full Wedge as successful as it is. If you're interested in Full Wedge, you can go over to fullwedgegolf.com. Easily just kind of scroll through any of their new lineups, any of their new items, and you can use our promo code OTS if you would like to get 20% off your next order. Also, as we drop this, if you're watching this one on the Friday, the Full Wedge Fall Classic was just announced and it opened to the public. We're going to drop this episode at 3 p.m., which is when the registration opens to the public. There's limited spaces. It's going to sell out in the next little while. So if you're kind of an early bird on this episode, go check it out. Go over to fullwedgegolf.com. You'll be able to find it from their website, or go to the Instagram, which is down in the show notes below. And again, if you want to pick up anything, that's a great way to go. You get a hat, you get a shirt, and a bunch of other Full Wedge swag gear. The tournament is just like... It's just awesome. You got to go over and check it out. Really appreciate you checking out the episode here. This is episode 200, so hopefully you stick around for another one. If you enjoy this one, and if you're going to pick up some Full Wedge threads, use OTS. It'll get you 20% off. Thank you guys so much. To 200 more. We'll see ya.
So they're in productions, yeah. So first off, shout out Triple Bogey. They were one of our first real collaborations we did.
Man, they were our first episode.
Really?
Jeff was our first
Oh,
episode.
no way.
Yeah, like 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm actually planning to like Jeff he's obviously got a busy schedule, but yeah, he's our first guest. He's been on once or twice since, and we're planning on doing another one. I'm looking at Triple Bogey in the fridge, so shout out to Jeff and the team, man.
Yeah, unreal. Shout out to Jeff, whole team with Triple Bogey. They've been supporters since day one, and yeah, they were our first like real collab. Had to have been 3 years ago now. So
Yeah, the black with the green cans. Yeah, I like that one.
It's pretty loud, but people seem to love it, and yeah, shout out Jeff and Charlie and Triple Bogey.
Yeah, those guys are. Charlie's cool too. I saw him for the first time I met him at the golf show, and he was cool, man. He was really cool.
And they're killing it right now. They're Tranny and Azaleas are.
Oh yeah,
flying off the shelves.
Yeah, the transfusion is it's top notch. I've had a few, too many of those, but they're very good. Yeah. So Andrew, if we can like get into, can we talk about you like a little bit more personally? Like I assume.
Sure.
You haven't done a podcast before, which is awesome. I always love like doing the first podcast, and it's like really good when we can do in-person ones like this. It's just like you can get more of like a reaction out of people's faces and stuff like that. It's kind of cool. The conversation feels a lot more natural and stuff too. So, what was it like when you kind of like started the brand? Were you like playing golf? Like was there like a thought, like a light bulb that went off? Like I know that's a cliche kind of question, but maybe like take us like through sort of, you know, Andrew as a youngster kind of getting into that space and then eventually being like, okay, I want to get into the golf world.
For sure. Yeah. So how far you want to go back? I can go back.
Let's go back to like how long were you out of school before you started? Were you in school when you started kind of messing with it?
So graduated high school, went to UIT in Oshawa for kinesiology. Found out in the first few months that I did not want to do anything in that field. Didn't want to be a physiotherapist. I just kind of took it because I love sports and wasn't sure what to do next. So
that's the exact same path I had. Sorry, UIT, you got a couple people cutting out a little early on you here, but we've done okay. We've done all right. Things have been okay. Yeah. I think Andrew picked the right path. I think so.
Yeah. So. Well, kind of like in high school, going to university, like I would always love to find another way to make money. So whether it be like I used to like resell concert tickets, resell shoes, like I was into crypto, like different things like that where I could make some money on the side. I was always like, it was more of a game than the actual like dollar figure I was getting. It was
okay.
It was like fun to me to like sign up for the pre-sale for concert tickets, buy them, and then flip them for whatever, double the price.
Hustling, I like that. Did you get in? I'm gonna find out how rich Andrew is. Did you get into NVIDIA lately? Like, no, okay. Unfortunately not, because that was one of the ones that was like somebody mentioned that to me, and then I looked at it months later, and I was like, oh, they weren't kidding. But yeah,
unfortunately not. But so I always had kind of like that side hustle fascination, I guess you could call it, and then
that mentality, right? And you have to have that if you're going to take a leap and start your own business for sure, right?
Yeah. So, I was actually finishing up my degree at UIT, and I've loved golf since I was like 7 years old. Just played recreationally, but just loved the game, and kind of discovered a passion for business. And like I knew I wanted to start a business, so I kind of took, like, at the time, this was summer of 2018.
Okay.
So at that time, you pretty much had the main like big 4 or 5 golf brands: Nike, Adidas, Under Armour. Everything was like solid colors, stripes, like polka dots. Like there wasn't too much like variety and like uniqueness to the pieces.
Yeah.
So I just thought, hey, you know what? I could probably. There wasn't much thought. Like this wasn't a very thought out plan. Like I just thought, hey, you know, I could probably throw like a pattern on a golf shirt, and I think people would buy it because that's kind of what I'm looking for. Like I want to wear something that's different. Like
okay.
that's a little unique. That's fun on the golf course. So I took inspiration from a brand called Chubbies. Are you familiar with Chubbies?
No.
It's yeah, they're based in the States. It's like a bathing suit brand.
Okay.
So basically, they were kind of my inspiration because they would take like unique patterns and put them on bathing suits, and I had a couple of pieces, and like they're pretty sweet. So
Thank you, Chubbies. Yeah.
I think they sold for 100 mil, but they're huge now. So but where was I? So yeah, so it started with 4 just unique patterns that I came up with using like with the graphic designer that I found online.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it started with 4 golf polos. Found a supplier in China at the time, and so that was like our first supplier, and we got the samples back, and they were terrible. So I had to do some digging. Went through a couple more suppliers, and finally found one that was like good quality, and so yeah, that's where it started. It was 4 golf polos with patterns on them, and I think there was 100 of each, and I think the first order was 4,500 bucks or something. It was like wasn't very much at all, and then yeah, that's kind of where it
Did they
started.
go quick? Were they gone like pretty quickly?
No, they weren't. So
Okay, all right.
so I got them. I sat on them for about 6 months because it would have been winter. It would have been like January 2019 at this point.
Okay.
So to get any product shots outside the golf course was like
Gotcha.
in the snow. So and I was working full time at this point, so it's just using my extra time I had on the side. And then yeah, so spring of 2019, got the product photos and launched them. A couple weeks went by, no sales. Like we had a website set up. It was like just very amateur, but we made it work. And then yeah, I would spend hours messaging people on Instagram. Hey, we're a new golf brand. Here's a discount code. And send the link to the website. That was kind of, I sent hundreds of messages, and then finally got one guy. I still remember our first sale was a guy in Quebec. He said, yeah, for sure. I gave him a 50% off discount code or something like that. And he bought, and then they started to slowly trickle in from there. And then, yeah, that was kind of how it started.
That's really cool, man. Like, so 400 pieces were the first. That was the first set, and
That
was it?
That was the first set. Yeah.
It was an Instagram question, so sorry that I missed this early. This would have been a great question early, but has it always been full wedge? Yeah.
Good question. So, not always. Well, since we were a real business, yes.
Okay.
But when I had the idea to make like a fun golf apparel brand, the next hardest part was coming up with a name. So we went through a bunch of different names.
Okay.
One of them was Pin Hunters Golf, and that was like our first. That was like the first logo that we made. It was kind of similar to the logo we have now, but just with Pin Hunters Golf.
Okay.
And that name, the domain for that was taken. So I was like, all right, can't use that. So one day, me and my buddies were playing at a course up local course, Wooden Sticks in Uxbridge there, and we were on a par 3, and it was about 145 yards, and I was debating whether I was going to hit like a knockdown 9 or a full wedge, and then like so for some reason that stuck in my brain, and I kept saying it, and then I was like talking to my buddies about it. Hey, like full wedge golf, and then yeah, the more you said it, the more it sounded cool, and then so we've been full wedge ever since then.
Was that on 17?
17, yeah.
At Wooden Sticks.
17.
Okay, yeah. I've had that same conversation with myself. Is this a 9-iron or a full wedge? I like that. I'm sure anybody listening has had that exact same conversation on that one too. So go check it out, because Wooden Sticks is a really cool course. They have like a bunch of like historic holes that they've recreated there, and that's the 17th at TPC Sawgrass, which is really cool. So now when you're ordering, do you remember like one day maybe early on, I'm sure it was early on now, but where things just kind of like skyrocketed for you, or like whatever word or adjective or noun or whatever we want to use that really kind of jump started things for you? Do you remember the day? What that
Yeah,
might have been?
yeah. There was definitely one day. This would have been about 2 years in. So for the first 2 years, like I was still working. I was just doing this part time in my free time. Sales were trickling in here and there. They were growing, but quite slowly. And it was probably 2021, just like after kind of the craziness of COVID happened. Like a bunch of people got in the game, and courses were fully open and running again. We dropped 4 men's shirts, 4 lady shirts. It was like our, at the time, our biggest drop, and and we worked with another golf group, Golf and Tacos. They're based out of Vancouver and Calgary. Shout out Caitlin Buckle as well, and they've been supporters since day one. So, but they were actually a big part of that because we gave them like a discount code and they sent it out to all their contacts. And then we did some more social media work, partnered with a few other golf influencers at the time, and so that drop day was like, it was crazy. Like we sold more in that day than we sold in the previous like 2 months, and so that was like the day that I realized like this could actually become like a real business and full time. So
Also the day where you're like, shit, I need help.
yeah,
You're like, yeah,
yeah.
I
So
need some help. Now I got to go pack however many orders in the
I wonder
warehouse.
if you
Okay.
could throw the video up of me and Nate packing orders, like in my basement that day. I was like, that was pretty crazy.
If you, yeah, can you send me
Yeah,
that?
we do.
I'll try and drop it over top here so people can have an idea of that. But it would be fun to see. Like it would be, and it's probably fun like to think back on too. And now we're, in a warehouse. So when did we, we're in a shop with the warehouse at the back, some office space, the pro shop, the clubhouse. When did you acquire the space here?
So we've been in here since early 2022. So sorry, 23.
Okay.
So yeah,
How did that evolution go from the basement? Was it from the basement to here?
basement to here, maxed
Love
out my
that.
parents' basement. Yeah, we were maxed out, and we were long overdue to move into a space. So it took a few months to find this space. And at the start, we were like, oh man, like this place is huge. Like, how are we gonna fill it? But fast forward like a couple of years, and we're pretty packed back there. But yeah.
Again, hopefully we were risky enough to fly a drone back there. So hopefully we got some B-roll to drop over top of this of us trying to fly a drone in the warehouse. But
Sure.
yeah, it's cool. Like and that's why I kind of would say like if you're open to it, I'd encourage like somebody, if you're a fan of the brand, come by and check it out. Because the first day I did, you were kind of able to show me around. Like you might not be able to do that. So yeah, send a message. But it's really cool if you're a fan of the brand, you're in love with the brand, you like to like support the brand, to come by and like check it out because you get to see where everything gets packed. It's really neat, right?
Sure, yeah, no, I would love to meet you as well. So
Yeah. So away from the golf course, or away from like Full Wedge headquarters here, what's Andrew doing? Is there anything like we don't know about you? So you've never been on a podcast. Is there anything we don't know? Like I've told people like probably in episodes before, like you mentioned your old website. I used to be like into bodybuilding. So I used to run a bodybuilding, or I used to have a supplement company with my brother called Supplement Bros, and we ended up selling it for not much, but like it was just like cool to do like a little e-commerce thing. I've played like poker and stuff like that in like my past. Like there's been a few things, but is there anything like maybe that our listeners here wouldn't know about Andrew that they'd be maybe shocked to find out?
I don't know. I'm laughing because like pretty much all I do is either work or golf. So
Okay.
but no, I love sports.
Do we have a hole in one?
No hole in one.
Okay.
No hole in one. But it's coming.
We've spoken like half a dozen into existence now.
Oh man.
Where shortly after a podcast, somebody's message and be like we've actually had two like within a couple days, which is pretty crazy. We had one the next day. I think our craziest one was probably Lauren Zaretsky she made one the following day after her and I talking about it
Oh, no
in
way.
in her first ever round in the Women's Canadian Open.
That's wild.
Her first ever. She was playing on like the LPGA tour. She's at Texas A&M right now. Hopefully I got that right because I got it wrong last time. Hopefully I got that right this time. But
So I gotta book a tea time for tomorrow morning.
yeah. So hopefully we like have spoken another one into existence. If it happens now, it's like there's been a few things like Zach Viminitz was on. He got one shortly after. It's been wild. We've had a few conversations about it, and Bryce and I have this like thought of doing a hole-in-one episode where people just come on and tell us their
Oh
story.
man,
And I think that'd be a lot of fun. But then people who don't have hole-in-ones that have been close will probably be like, I'm not listening to that
for
crap.
sure.
Yeah.
No,
So
I've witnessed a couple hole in ones. One of them was my buddy at Cabot, like one of the scenic holes at Cabot.
oh,
Hole in one, just unreal moment. The caddies were going crazy. Like yeah,
hard to beat that. That would be hard to beat.
that'd be hard to beat. But I'm like anywhere. Anyway, I'd take one anywhere.
Yeah, I've got two. One of them's at like a little goat track in Oshawa. It was like when I was young, when I first got into the game, and then I got one a couple years ago while I was pushing my like 4-month-old baby in the stroller.
No way.
I was like that degenerate dad pushing his baby in the stroller, and I made a hole in one. There was other people
That's
there.
so
We
cool.
got not on video. Took video of the hole before it, unfortunately, but not that one. But it was pretty cool. Like that one. So like for me, my golf game like has actually gone down like steadily since then too, which probably makes sense because that was it. Like that was always going to be the peak. I was never going to hit a better shot than that. Like so that's been it. And it was at hole number 6 at Port Hope, which is like right into the lake, which is really beautiful. So yeah, so hole in ones are always kind of fun to talk about. But are you into like all sports? You like them all?
Yeah, I like them all. I'm a huge Toronto sports fan. Leafs, Raptors, Jays. I love hockey, like tennis, getting into pickleball.
Ooh.
Big cottager. I like having a just good time.
So if you weren't doing full wedge, what would you be doing?
If I wasn't, yeah. So I
Don't give me kinesis. Don't give me like
No,
yeah,
no.
yeah, no.
No,
Don't give me anything in the
I was not
kinesiology
gonna
field.
to
Yeah.
be a physiotherapist or a massage therapist. So I'd probably be starting some sort of business. I'd be in business.
Okay.
Ideally, if I wasn't an entrepreneur, I'd probably working at my previous job, which was at a trucking company. So,
Okay.
but I loved it there.
So if you had the opportunity though to like start another business, it sounds like that's kind of like we talked about that. Like that's kind of like your just like appealing to you.
Yeah.
What would it be? Like what would you get into like another type of apparel brand? Would there be like anything else that you'd be interested? It sounds like you like being in like the marketing or like selling aspect of things, right? So
For sure. Yeah, like I've thought of it, and if I had time, I would probably get into a few more. But yeah, bathing suits, I think would be pretty cool. Just like blank streetwear, I think would be cool. Which is kind of I'm drawing inspiration from that and bringing it into full wedge.
yeah, for sure. Like the recent Toronto collection was awesome.
Yeah.
Like the quality of it too. Like the heavier tee, the thicker tee, like was so good. So go check that out too, of course. But I think that it'd be great to be able to do something like that. Like I think it'd be so much fun. Like my world away from like the golf space and podcast space is so much different than this. And
Yeah.
I just kind of like I feel like I didn't know that I was interested in something like this until it came up. But
Yeah.
and then when it does, you're like, damn, okay. I actually like really like talking to people and learning about them and like their brand or like players. Like we have a ton of players on and pros and stuff like that. And it's kind of cool like hearing about their story and their experiences. Everyone has something different, which is really cool.
Sure.
And I think it's just one of those things like the story and behind it. And hopefully you guys are enjoying kind of hearing Andrew's story because it's one of those things where it's like there's so many brands that come up and so many podcasts that come up and you know, they might try like really hard, but they're not here still. So like, what is the successful component of like making full wedge what it is? And 6 years later, coming up on 6 years now, like what has you kind of hanging around and like leading, you know, in the golf space in Canada for sure. Right. So,
For sure.
is there another part to that? Is there like something else that you'd be doing with it?
I don't think so, man.
It's so hard because like obviously too you're probably doing like you mentioned you're doing a lot of like 10-12 hour days here and stuff like that, so little collabs and stuff like that, I think is like where it's at for sure.
For sure.
What about shoes?
Shoes, yes, shoes would be awesome.
I'm a shoe guy. I notice you're always wearing like Dunks or something like that. You always
Yeah,
have
the
something cool on.
Jordan
So
golf shoes are my
yeah.
favorite. I got a pair of FootJoy Malvins on the way. I'm excited for those.
Okay. All right.
That collab, but yeah, no, I love shoes. I just think, yeah, our time, energy, money right now is going into apparel,
Yeah.
and then different, like working with different collabs, different brands or different collabs.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's get somebody from like New Balance on here or something like that, and let's get something going with Full Wedge New Balance collab or something like that
so
in the golf
I
space.
would love to collaborate with a brand on some golf shoes, but there's just so much like technology that goes into
Yeah.
a golf shoe that to start from scratch. Yeah, not in the cards right now, but
I think everybody probably saw that in like the I can't think of the names escaping me right now, but like the Matt Damon Ben Affleck movie is so good.
oh yeah,
Yeah, where they pretty much talk about like how they acquired Jordan and created the shoes and stuff like that. So I can't imagine what that would be like to try.
the R&D, like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So Andrew, before I know you got a lot going on tonight, so we won't keep you all night, but before we let you go, what's coming up for Full Wedge in the next little while? So when we're dropping this one, it's the beginning of August. Golf season is still in full effect. We've talked about the Full Wedge Classic, right? We can talk about that one. So
Yeah,
for
we
September?
definitely
Okay.
Oh yeah, so September 20th. We haven't released, we haven't opened registration yet. But yeah, keep an eye on our Instagram, Full Wedge Classic.
I didn't know if that was just for the people who are at the last Classic, so
Yeah, so
I didn't want
we're
to speak too
starting
soon.
like let
Yeah.
people know about the date right now. But yeah, I'm sure it's gonna fill up super quick.
Last one went in like 48 hours.
Last one went 48 hours. And yeah, it was an awesome time.
The best, and I'm not just saying that because like Andrew's a friend or we're connected with like Full Edge and like we're literally sitting in the clubhouse right now, but like all of my friends who played, the guys in the group behind us, like anybody that we spoke with, they absolutely loved the event. There's nothing that you could change. Like it was just a perfect day, perfect event. Nobleton Lakes was such a good host. Course was beautiful too.
Yeah, it was in mint shape after like the rain and like we got a few dry days. It was mint. Yeah, everybody was just there to have a good time, and yeah, there was some pretty good golf out there too.
There really was. Like the group behind us won, and if anybody has any doubts, they were incredibly good. So I talked to those guys like pretty regularly, like on Instagram and stuff since, and like they were good. They were playing, like they were hot that day. So another cool thing you can do too, because you go and you get like a piece. Will you do that again in September?
For sure.
So, like-
yeah, we got so because we're calling it the Fall Classic, we got some hoodies and long sleeve shirts that are custom, only sold at the event, limited quantities, and along with that, everyone gets a polo hat, koozie, ball marker, cooler bag. Like there's a ton of value in it. So
It was really cool to do that, and like our team really loved like all the guys got the same shirt. So when you see those like really cringy like Christmas photos where everybody's wearing the same thing.
Yeah.
So like that was us, and it was like kind of cool though. We really liked it. Like everybody did it, and it like really made you feel like a team. It made a team event like even more like a team, which
exactly,
was cool.
it's the team uniform. And
Yeah.
that's like this event is all about fun and just that's just a fun added component and all the different activations we have on the course. And September 20th at Mill Run Golf Club. Quick shout out to Matt and Ben at Mill Run. They've been huge for the brand, and they were the first course to ever sell Full Wedge, so one of 250 plus now. So
That was one of my questions before I let you go. Was how many courses you guys were at? So 250.
yeah, over 250 now, and next year projecting quite a few more.
So we're up in Ontario, obviously. So we're up in like the Toronto area. We've got a good group of like listeners down in like Southern California and stuff. Probably shout out to like clubs and cousin clubs and Brandon and stuff like that from Nebula and a lot of those guys who have done episodes with us before. So there's also another shop in Tampa too, which is not an untouched market for us, but we don't have too many listeners. So if you're interested, like there's definitely some space down in Tampa, but a couple items and stuff before we let you go, Andrew, that's kind of coming out.
Yeah. So we just dropped the Full Wedge X Goated putter collab. So yeah, a couple mallets, a couple blades. People are loving those so far.
That's brand new for you guys too. That's so cool.
Brand new. Just trying different things is always fun, and it's rewarding when they do well. And then next one is the candle collab with Fairway Candle. We got that coming out. We got the wedges with Haywood there. That's pretty much it for the collaborations, and then we have a ton of casual wear that's about to drop end of August. So a bunch of new tees, crew necks, long sleeves, hoodies. We have a fall polo drop as well, and yeah, a bunch of new hats as well. We try to keep it pretty fresh here. So
a ton of stuff. It's so fresh.
Coming, yeah.
We've already had like 5 drops this year too. So if you see anything like behind us too that you like, that you're interested in, this is all stuff that's going to be coming out in the next little while, right? So
for sure, yeah.
Andrew, man, appreciate this. I don't think we missed anything, but if
man.
we did, we'll just come back and do it again. We'll do it again sometime.
We'll do round 2 in a few months.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having me on.
Maybe after the fall classic or something, we'll get out there. I'm going to try and do a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to try and do a little bit more too. So if you're at the fall wedge or the full wedge fall classic and you want to come for a chat, I'll have like some cameras and stuff. I'll be there. I'll be a little bit more. It's hard though. Like I really want to play, but it's hard to do both. So like anybody who's doing both, like Luke Kwan's channel, they're filming and playing. So like that's crazy. But it's really hard to do both. But if you have, come over to say hi. We'll I don't know, we'll do a video or something. But Andrew, this is great, man. And if
200, Mac,
episode 200, it's pretty cool. So thanks everybody for hanging out for 200 of them. I know there's a few people have been here since like the first couple, and it means a lot. It means a lot. It's something that I've got 200 times 20 something hours a week, 25 hours a week. So a lot of hours into. So I appreciate you guys listening. Would appreciate you guys checking out fullwedgegolf.com too. Everything is in the show notes below. If you have any questions or anything, shoot them a DM, shoot us a DM. You're welcome to use our promo code OTS. But either way, just support the brand. Appreciate you guys supporting us, Andrew. It's something that kind of helps us keep going. So to hopefully 200 more. So, and you know, another however many more years and collabs and drops from Full Wedge Golf. And stay tuned for the Full Wedge Classic. It sells out so quick, so get in. There's going to be some upset people who don't, but yeah, there's it's I can honestly say it's like the best tournament going. So thanks so much.
Hope to see you there.
200 more or whatever it may be. But
thanks, man.
Yeah,
appreciate it,
thank you, buddy.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Thank you, Andrew. That was cool.
World gang, bang. World gang.
It does. Once you get like
Twirl gang, give me that driver, I let it bang. Twirl gang, give me that wedge, I'm taking that aim. Twirl gang, twirl. If you ain't twirling, hitter, you lame. You sick of the twirling, hitter, you gang. Yeah, I'm twirling my stick, staring it down, air to the ground. It's a good chance that I'm in it. The revolution's like 100 a minute. They see me twirling that club, that's how you know that I love it. Yeah, I make it look easy, there really ain't many that do how I does it. Yeah, I might follow through. They say that I look like I'm who?